Welcome to Resting Tism Face, a pop culture podcast where your host Todd Kinsella gives you what's geek this week. And while you're here, let's talk about being neurospacey, whether that be ADHD, autistic, or both. Which, spoiler alert, I am.
Yes. Oh gosh, that is. All right, hey. How's it going, everyone? Today is August 10th, but some of the stories are from a couple of days ago. So, hi, I'm Todd, and this is my podcast, Resting Tism Face. And, yeah, so, I'm trying to adjust a couple things here on screen. Here we go. All right, so I have a few stories to talk about. Um, let's see here. I actually went and did uh, a new open mic yesterday, and here in Renton, Washington, and it was actually a lot of fun. It's in a place called Darren's Speakeasy, and I got there early because I wanted to find the place and wasn't sure if I was going to be able to find it. I did. It, because it's a speakeasy, I guess. It's not really easy to find because Google Maps says, "Hey, you're here," and I go, "That's not a speakeasy. That's a that's a mental health place. I don't know." And did a little digging on the internet and found that that is the right building. It's just that the entrance is over on the sides. I had to pull into the parking lot. Once I pulled into the parking lot, I found the sign for the place. I'm like, okay, cool. And got there a little early, and because the uh, the flyer I saw online was from like a previous week, and I guess that week it started earlier. And so I think I was there like an hour early. And when the host of the show, Yogi Palwal is the guy's name. He's a really cool dude. He's a friend of mine. At least I consider him a friend. Um, he was getting all set up, and he the way he does it is he has instead of like a sign up sheet like most open mics, which is just usually a piece of paper, he opens up like a notepad on his laptop and type in your name. And he put my name down number one because I was already there. I'm like, okay, guess I'll go first. I was gonna put myself at like 6 or 7, when the show starts and let people start piling in. And I went first, and I may uh, I may post the clip to the social medias for this podcast. So if you're not already subscribed uh, to the podcast and or the social medias, go to tismface.rest, and all the links are there. Um, yeah, tismface.rest instead of .com, because I saw that .rest was a thing. And I was like, okay, cool. So instead of like restingtismface.com, which I still might grab if somebody hasn't already grabbed it, um, uh, it's yeah, I think it's a cool URL, tismface.rest. It pulls up my link tree for the podcast, which has all the important links, like the where you can listen, the Substack. Go subscribe to that, please, and in the social media links, so like Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, and then the Twitch channel and the YouTube channel, which I haven't utilized yet with this podcast. Actually, no, I did it. I did one. I did the first episode. I did a live stream, and there wasn't anybody actually watching, so I decided instead of doing a live stream again, I'm just gonna record it using OBS, which is the streaming software, and then upload it to the Substack which is where the podcast is hosted, and then it automatically also posts to YouTube. So if you want to watch this video, you can either go to Substack, uh, restingtismface.substack.com, or go to YouTube and search for Resting Tism Face, and it'll pop right up. Yeah, so I did the open mic last night, and I went first, and I think it did all right. I mean, the host did most of the laughing, but there was some other people laughing too, which was nice. It's I like that room. Actually, I think I'll definitely go back and do open mic stand up. That open mic is actually not just for stand up. I guess there's also, if you are a musician or you do poetry or whatever performances you want to do, you can do that. And the show goes from 7 to midnight, so which is, I think, a normal time frame for most open mics. You want to have a fair amount of time for people to show up, and then you basically show up and sign on, and then you go up whenever the number you are on the list. So yeah, it was cool. I enjoyed it. I may go later next week and not get there so early, so I don't have to go first. I would have preferred to not go like number one, but number one. So yeah, it was fun. I had a good time. I did some of my neurospicy jokes, which uh, one of which inspired the name of this podcast. My resting tism face joke. Um, I did. Actually, yeah, I think I will post that because I recorded audio, and then of course I put it to an image of me standing on the stage for this venue, so it was pretty cool. And yeah, um, oh man, I've been watching the new spin-off series to uh, The Big Bang Theory, which is Stewart fails to save the universe or something like that. I think that's what it's called. Let me pull it up real quick. I have it here. Yeah, it's Stewart fails to save the universe is the name of the show, and it's not a sitcom. It's kind of an action kind of. It is a comedy, but it's not a sitcom. It's how sitcoms have that it's filmed in front of a live studio audience kind of feel. This is definitely more like watching like um any science fiction show or action show where it's on you know the film looks different is what I mean. So let me go ahead and pull that up so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Hey, share screen here. It's the article is this: is the Big Bang Theory spin-off addresses Sheldon Cooper's absence, but viewers have a better idea. I don't know. I thought I think I thought the what they said was pretty cool, or at least it seemed like it was a good idea. Anyway, it says Big Bang Theory has several spin-offs at this point, but none of them have taken bigger swings than its latest spin-off. Stewart fails to save the universe. The series throws the franchise and a crew of quirky favorites into multiverse adventure. And so far, a number of original stars have made unexpected appearances. The actor who is not showing up is Jim Parsons as Sheldon Cooper. Not only has the show addressed Cooper's absence, the fans have come up with a better idea to fill the void. It says here in the latest episode of Stewart Saves the Universe, Stewart asks the realm's Alexa how to find Sheldon Cooper, and he informs them that Sheldon Cooper is currently starring in a revival of Man of La Mancha on Broadway. It's a nice nod to Parsons' Broadway run and to the fact that Parsons is not planning on returning to the role. That's that said, fans have already come up with a better idea, which is for Ian Armitage to show up as young Sheldon instead. I was actually just thinking that. Why don't they get the kid from young Sheldon to show up? And we have to agree with this. Yes, exactly. I mean, as I'm reading this, I was thinking, they should just get the kid who plays young Sheldon. And you know what? That may happen. We may see that version of Sheldon. So who knows, man? You never know. Turn the mic up a little bit. See here. I think turn that up a little bit too. All right. I'm looking at the EQ. I'm thinking, am I not loud enough? And I think I'm good. All right. So, um, see, maybe turn my headphones up. uh, yeah. So I think that's a good idea, honestly. Um, uh, yeah. No, it's been a good show. I think. We get to see a couple of series regulars from The Big Bang Theory show up on the most recent episode, which I won't give away anything. I won't tell you who it is. You'll have to watch. Suffice to say, um, the characters are both fan favorites, I think. Certainly favorites of mine, and it was cool to see them both. Uh, so, yes, there's two. I'll give you that much. Yeah. Um, So yeah, no, that's cool. I'm down for that. I think that's what they should absolutely get Ian to reprise his role as young Sheldon. Now that Ian, I think he's got to be in his late teens, probably even early 20s at this point. So yeah, thank you. Hopefully that didn't get picked up. My Alexa just said something in the background. Anyways, the next story, it's not really a story as much as it is a funny video. Um, so, uh, this Brian Monarch channel, if you've not seen it, I highly recommend checking it out on YouTube. I think he's also on Instagram and TikTok as well. Look up yeah, what did I say? Brian Monarch. Yeah, Brian Monarch does these really cool deep fake videos where he recreates or does like a fan edit of either a TV show or a movie where they replace at least one character with Arnold Schwarzenegger, and Schwarzenegger is voiced by Joe Goddard, who is an amazing voice actor. He's also on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. So let's see here. Yeah, here it is. Joe Goddard. Last name is spelled Gaudet. Yeah, he's really funny. He does really a spot on impression of Arnold. Let me play a little bit for you guys.
Slowly ease it up underneath your chin. This is looking really good. Napoleon, what'd you do all last summer again? I told you I spent it with my uncle in Alaska hunting wolverines.
Okay, I'm not going to play the whole thing. You have to go check it out for yourself. I'll be posting the links to all the stories in the show notes, so if nothing else, you can find it that way. But yeah, it says here, what if Napoleon Dynamite had been filmed in an alternate universe where every single role is played by Arnold Schwarzenegger? No, Schwarzenegger. No, really. Thanks to the magic and madness of deep fake technology, Brian Monarch has recast the 2004 cult classic with the Austrian oak portraying everyone. Joe Goddard absolutely nails Arnold's voice for every character, transforming the film's painfully awkward charm into a nonstop parade of thick Austrian accents and enough Arnold Schwarzenegger swagger to make even Tina the Llama consider hitting the gym. Check it out. Uh, Now he's done things like Demolition Man, uh, learning the alphabet with Arnold Schwarzenegger. These are I've seen most of these videos and they're very funny. God. I wish I could do the impression as good as Joe. Joe does it so like real sounding, not like um when people do like the get to the chopper, all the one-liners that he is known for doing, and they do it in the exaggerated Schwarzenegger voice. But Joe does it like his natural speaking voice. He also does a lot of the stereotypical like Arnoldisms, I guess you can call them, and he's really good at it. Um, let's see here. Next story. Actually, I think I posted about this yesterday. Hobbits Unite, Lord of the Rings, Sean Astin, Dominic Monaghan, Elijah Wood, and Billy Boyd reunite for one night out. You guys check this shit out. That's awesome. I don't know. I haven't seen the Lord of the Rings movies since they were in theaters, largely because each movie is like 3.5 hours long. That's just the theatrical release. I think the enhanced or the extended versions are like even longer. And I haven't gone back to rewatch. So this is what this says here. Four of the original stars of The Lord of the Rings recently reunited over drinks. Elijah Wood, Sean Astin, Dominic Monaghan, and Billy Boyd, who played hobbits in the original trilogy, posed for a rare photo 23 years after their last film together. The reunion comes as Elijah Wood gears up to reprise his role as Frodo in the upcoming film Lord of the Rings Hunt for Gollum. The wizard has a wizard is never late, and a hobbit never misses a chance to share a meal with his old friends. 23 years since they last appeared together in Lord of the Rings, Return of the King stars Elijah, Sean, Dominic, and Billy have reunited on Saturday. The quartet of actors broke the internet as when Aston shared a photo of them all together at the La Royale restaurant in Cambridge, Massachusetts, smiling like a gang of happy hobbits. The band is all here, Austin, who's 55, wrote in the caption. Hours later, Monahan, 49, got in on the fun with a goofy selfie that also featured a couple of photobombing them in a neighborhood table. Uh, 4 halflings, 3 cocktails, 2 desserts, 1 great night of conversation. More to come. Hashtag be curious, he wrote, adding, shout out to the couple in the back. Well played. That's great. Oh, and then down in the comment section, Instagram user Bob Dolmo wrote, "That's my wife and I over Billy's shoulder. Incredibly surreal. All the guys were such sweethearts. We chatted with them after dinner briefly, though they look a tad different at a full height and without their full hobbit getup. The actors are mistakenly the same four that journeyed across Middle Earth to destroy the One Ring to defeat Sauron in an epic Lord of the Rings trilogy that stretched from 2001 to 2003, eventually spawning a prequel trilogy, spin-offs, and more. Wood played the heroic Frodo Baggins. Austin played his loyal companion Samwise Gamgee. Boyd starred as Peregrine Pippin Took, and Monahan played Ma- Maria Doc Mary Brandybuck. I didn't know their names like that. I knew Mary and Pippin, but I didn't know they had that. I figured that was their actual names, not like they were like a shorter version of their actual names. So that's cool. I didn't know that. Now I know, and knowing is half the battle. Um, the comment section for both posts, fans thrilled at the chance to see the 4 hobbits back together, with one user writing, "The fact that you 4 still hang out is so goddamn endearing. Now that's a fellowship." Another joked, "And 1 plate of onion rings to bring them all." Okay, that's funny. Uh, Imagine you're the hostess of this restaurant and you see 4 hobbits roll up. This is. Meanwhile, fan quoted J.R.R. Tolkien's The Hobbit writing, "If more of us valued food and cheer and song above hoarding gold, it would be a merrier world." I think that's. I have never read those books because my ADHD and autism are such that reading for pleasure is not a thing for me. I don't enjoy reading for fun. I mean, I'm reading this, but this is not a book where I'm dreading the next 300 pages. you know, this is a single page, and I can do this largely because I'm not reading it and then like trying to absorb it. I'm reading it and telling it to you guys, and that's different for me, and I enjoy doing that. Of course, I have something in my mouth and I spit it out and it lands on the keyboard in between the keys. That's great. That's what I get for doing that. All right. Next on the next tab on the browser. Let's see here. The 10 best adventure movies from in film history. And if you scroll up a little bit, you see like the main image here is Henry Jones and Henry Jones Jr. And he's telling Dad, "It's like I don't call me Junior." One of my favorite parts of that movie. Like we called the dog Indiana. It says if there's any one great genre, excuse me, if there's any one genre that has been delivering some of history's greatest films for as long as the medium has been employed for storytelling, it's the adventure genre. From classic silent short films like George Millie's A Trip to the Moon. I apologize if I butchered that guy's name. Um, to the modern blockbuster of this size of Dune Part 2, the best adventure movies in film have gone down as some of the greatest motion pictures ever made, regardless of genre. All right, let's see what we got here. All right. Number 10 is Dune Part 2 from 2024. I still have yet to watch this. I've seen the first of the more modern Dune movies, and I've seen all the other ones too, by the way, but I've only seen the first of the new ones, and I have it on my to watch list. Let's see here. Number 9 on this list is Spirited Away from 2001. And it says Hayao Miyazaki is not only the poster boy for Studio Ghibli, but arguably the king of anime filmmaking as a whole. You know what? I think I've seen parts of this. I don't know if I've seen the whole thing, but it wasn't bad. I'm not a huge anime guy, as my roommates will tell you, because I tease them kind of about them really liking anime, and I'm the exact opposite. It's all right. I don't hate it, but it's not for me. Um, but yeah, I think I've seen pieces of this, and it was entertaining. The bits I saw. Number 8 on the list here is The Wages of Fear from 1953. I don't know this one. It's a French-Italian masterpiece, The Wages of Fear, directed by Henry Georges Clouzot. Clouseau. Probably because it's French, it should be Clouseau. Is no traditional adventure movie. It's one of the most intense movies of the 1950s. High octane road thriller that is an absolute masterpiece in how to build suspense. Anyone who loves adventure films at their tense ought to consider Wages of Fear essential viewing. Number 7 on the list. I think this should be higher on the list, but I don't know what the rest of them are just yet, so we'll see. Raiders of the Lost Ark. Hands down, one of my favorite movies of all time. Top 5 for sure. Yeah. Let's see here. I mean, between like Spielberg's directing and John Williams' score of the movie, and of course Harrison Ford playing the main character, Indiana Jones. Yeah. All right, number 6 on the list is Empire Strikes Back from 1980. You know what? Yeah, again, I think this probably should be higher on the list, but I don't know what the other ones are just yet, so we'll keep going, scrolling down. Number 5 on the list is the first Back to the Future from 1985. Let's see here. Number 4 is Lord of the Rings Return of the King from 2003. I don't know if I would put that above the other movies. Um, Scrolling down. Number 3, 2001 A Space Odyssey. Again, I saw this movie, and this is from 1968. I think I watched it or tried to watch it. Tried is a keyword. Uh, about a year ago, I tried watching it, and I was so fucking bored. It's Stanley Kubrick. He's an amazing director, from what people say. I don't know if I've seen any of his movies all the way through without falling asleep, so that's on me. My ADHD is if there's a lull in the story, or if it doesn't have sufficient action or at least some comedy to it, I'm gonna get bored. And these movies that he makes are very visually stunning. I'll give him that. The stories, however, tend to be a little meh. You know. Um, Number 2 on the list is Lawrence of Arabia from 1962. This is a movie I've never seen, but I've been aware of pretty much my entire life because it's always referenced in most like talk shows or anything to do with film and that kind of stuff. Um, Number 1 on the list. Okay, this one. Okay, this absolutely should be number 1. This is my favorite of the Indiana Jones movies, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade from 1989. Hands down my favorite Indiana Jones movie because he's kicking ass and taking names and whooping on Nazis and whatnot, and he's hanging out with his dad for the majority of the movie, and they really don't get along very well, at least not at the beginning, and they start to get along better towards the end of the film. I think the adventure kind of like pulls them closer together. So, all right, so let's see here. That is pretty much it for that article on Collider.com. If you want to see and actually read all the stuff that's in here, like I said, I'll put the link in the show notes in the description below. The next story is Star Wars meets Indiana Jones in the 85-part sci-fi saga. Everyone's calling an instant classic. When I first saw Star Wars meets Indiana Jones, I immediately thought, is there going to be a movie? Is it a TV show? No, it's a graphic novel or a comic book at this point. So, it says here, the world can thank George Lucas for 2 of the most beloved franchises in cinematic history, Star Wars and Indiana Jones, the latter of which he developed with director Steven Spielberg. The sci-fi saga and the adventures of a globe-trotting archaeologist have plenty more in common, such as the casting of Harrison Ford as Han Solo and Indiana Jones, and the music of John Williams. Fans have also spotted a hieroglyphics on the Well of Souls, shaped like C-3PO and R2-D2 in Raiders of the Lost Ark, among other Easter eggs between the franchises, which is just about the closest these two worlds have come colliding so far. However, there is a popular Star Wars comic book that offers the next best thing. Dr. Aphra is Star Wars meets Indiana Jones. It's not very likely that the fans will get to see an official crossover story in which Indiana Jones somehow finds himself in a galaxy far, far away. However, for anyone who will settle for a story set in the world of Star Wars that boasts the same adventurous aura, is the action movie franchise should check out Star Wars Dr. Aphra. Published by Marvel, the comic book follows Dr. Cheli Lona Afra, an archaeologist and a lone explorer with a questionable moral compass and a knack for getting into sticky situations in pursuit of valuable artifacts. Anyone considering themselves a fan of Indiana Jones should be able to pick up on the similarities. All right. This looks like it's a brand new comic book, too. Um, you know what? I hope at some point we get like an animated series made from this. This would be awesome. Although, here's another thing between the connection between the two. There is an online fan theory that Indiana Jones is the dream that Han Solo had while he was frozen in carbonite. I like that idea. I think that's something that if they ever chose to do, um, ever chose to do an animated series about Han Solo, there should be uh, a segment where it talks about like what he was dreaming about while he was in carbonite, and it should be like clips of this is my idea. It should be clips of various other movies that Harrison Ford has done. Like, of course, you have to have Indiana Jones and Air Force One and all the other movies he's done, and maybe even a little bit of the show Shrinking, which is in itself a really good show. If you've never seen it, it's on Apple TV, and it is worth getting a a subscription to Apple TV, at least for a couple months, so you can watch both seasons of it. Depending on how quickly you can watch, I think it's like 4 episodes per season or 6 episodes per season. And I think they're each like an hour long. So if you can spend a day and just binge watch the series, you can probably just pay for a month and watch it. But it's a great show. It has Harrison Ford as like the senior member of a therapy company. He's like the lead guy, and all of his underlings are also therapists, and it's about their interpersonal relationships outside of doing therapy for their customers, their clients. And it's a very funny show. Jeez, of course, as soon as I start talking about it, my brain goes, "No, you don't need that information right now." Jason Segel is one of the main characters, and um, you'll recognize some of the other actors too. But he and Harrison are like the the two main characters. There's like four other characters that are like main characters that are in every episode. And right now I can't think of their names. And I at least one of them, um, I recognize his face. He was in uh, Married with Children. He was in the Revenge of the Nerds movies. You know who I'm talking about just by those two names alone. And I can't think of his name right now, and I don't really want to look it up. So I'll let you do that. Um, but yeah, this sounds like it'd be cool. I think I may have to see if I can get a copy of it and read it myself or attempt to read it. I, I I like comic books. I prefer animation. Uh, just like I prefer audiobooks over reading, just because I like the stories and I can't get my brain to allow me to read through a book without like losing interest or falling asleep. So yeah, all right. Next story on my tabs is August 8th, which was 2 days ago from this recording, is the anniversary, the 40th anniversary of the Transformers the movie, and I have fairly vivid memories of seeing this movie in theaters with my two best friends at the time, 1986, and we were just enthralled with this movie. And I actually started rewatching it this morning, and I woke up kind of early. Bladder was like, "Hey, you need to do some stuff," and I did my stuff, and I went and laid back down and turned on the movie and then fell back asleep because it was still early and I was still tired. But I started watching it and it's still a great movie. Um, Today is this is what it says from August 8th, 2026 at 1:26 p.m. It says here today in Transformers history on August 8th, 1986, the Transformers movie opened in theaters, a tour de force with incredible animation most of the time, and a classic score and soundtrack. Transformers the movie introduced audiences to new characters like Hot Rod, RC, Ultra Magnus, Galvatron, and Unicron, as well as infamously killing off a whole swaths of characters from the original 1984 lineup, often in traumatic fashion. The death of Prowl is particularly horrifying. Yeah, no, Prowl, he, oh yeah, I can see it in my mind's eye. He gets shot and then like he turns like black and dark gray, and like red and black smoke comes out of his eye sockets and his mouth as he's like kind of like but yeah, and of course the death of Optimus Prime traumatized a whole generation of kids. um and I think Hasbro and Marvel Animation, who are the companies that did the original cartoon, Marvel Animation and Sunbow Productions, I think, is the companies that did the original series. I remember in early 2000s having a huge argument with somebody about whether or not Transformers the movie was an anime or not. And I still maintain that it was not an anime, even though the director is an Asian dude. Uh, I don't think that's necessarily a good enough reason. I think their idea was that the cartoon was based on a Japanese toy, and some of the production was done in I think South Korea. But that doesn't make, at least in my mind, that doesn't make it an anime. The vast majority of what was done is done here in the States, and back in 1986, they weren't even called anime; they were called Japanese cartoons, like uh, Speed Racer and Star Blazers and what was the other one? The original was Macross, but it was called Robotech. Yeah, it was Robotech here in the States. Those were just Japanese cartoons. Later, uh, the phrase was Japanime in like late '80s, early '90s, and then it got shortened to anime, which was a contraction of Japanese animation. And my roommate will argue that like it's now a style of animation that is not limited to Japan, which is mostly true, I think, because there's a fair amount of Western animation shows that are done in that style, but aren't actually made in the country of origin of the original style. But and it's the arguments are for me anyway are mostly just like, okay, that's not really anime, and she's like, yeah, it is. So I think it's mostly tongue in cheek. I don't know. She may be legitimately annoyed with me, but I don't mean anything like serious by it. So hopefully she gets that. Just like teasing her about it too, though. But yeah, no, this is it's definitely one of my favorites. I rewatch it every few years or so, or if something is kind of like I get a little nostalgic about things in like the early to mid '80s, and I'll watch things like I'll watch like the original Star Wars movies. I'll watch Star Wars Empire and Jedi, and then I'll be like, oh, you should also watch the Transformers the movie, which I know a lot of people just call it the Transformers movie from 1986, but like the title of the movie is The Transformers, and like colon the movie. So I don't know. The Transformers movie, Transformers the movie, whatever. I don't know. I'm thinking about. I'm thinking too hard on that topic. So let's move on to the next thing here. Yeah, it goes on to saying the death of Optimus Prime also had a wider impact in pop culture. Other brands like Hasbro, stablemate G.I. Joe took note on how huge the backlash of killing off Optimus Prime was, and shed away from the sending their own main characters into the toy box in the sky. No, Duke is not dead. He was just in a coma. He's gonna be okay. I don't remember that movie that much. I know I've seen it, but it's been a while since I watched it. I should probably rewatch it. What's up? Harness should be right down there, probably in that bag. Taking the fur kid out for a walk. There you go. I was gonna do that and I forgot. She's like, I'll do it. Fine.
It's alright. It's right.
She's like, I'll have a cigarette while I'm outside anyhow. That's the bottom. That goes on top. This is where his neck would be.
Okay.
I put that on the bottom. Maybe that's what's confusing you.
Yeah, that's confusing. He just wanted to stick in your rabbits
He had the dog has a little QR code tag, and I moved it from one of the loops to a different loop, and she's like, hey, is this backwards? No, I moved it because I was kept when I tried putting the leash on, and it would get like in the way, so I moved it. So all right, so last story I have here is from CBR.com. Warner Brothers is officially rebooting a 41-year-old fantasy classic with a new movie. And I think this is coming on the heels of how well the Masters of the Universe movie did, the He-Man movie that just came out. It says Warner Brothers is getting in on the 1980s revival with another classic Saturday morning cartoon. And getting the reboot treatment in the form of a feature-length film. Warner Brothers is set to follow the lead of studios like Sony Pictures and MGM, which is owned by Amazon, with the titles like Masters of the Universe and Voltron, by bringing a Thundercats movie to the main screen in their near future. For the record, Thundercats was not a Saturday morning cartoon. It was an after-school cartoon. I know because that's when I watched it in 1983. I watched it every day after school. I loved He-Man and Masters of the Universe. Okay. I'm that autistic. I'm that kind of autistic. I like you can't like say, "Oh, it was a Saturday morning cartoon." No, it wasn't. It wasn't. I mean, it was a cartoon in the 80s, and during that time, there were Saturday morning cartoons like Scooby-Doo and the Smurfs and Super Friends. But He-Man and Transformers and G.I. Joe and, of course, Thundercats were all after-school cartoons. They weren't Saturday morning. Never have been, never will be, because, well, Saturday morning cartoons is no longer a thing. It says Warner Brothers debuted the news as a part of its Warner Brothers Animation Sizzle Reel at the annual Annecy International Film Festival and Market, revealing that an animated Thundercats reboot film was in the works at the studio. Nothing further details on the project, including what stage of development it is in. were included in the presentation. The Thundercats franchise is headed to the big screen. It does seem like the 1980s nostalgia cycle is back in full effect, as others have expressed after Masters of the Universe' second less than stellar run at the box office. It feels like Thundercats franchise deserves a turn in theaters. The original Thundercats debuted as a part of the same 1980s boom in fantasy and sci-fi animated series, primarily meant to sell kids toys, but that also birthed Masters of the Universe, Transformers, G.I. Joe. Yet Thundercats never reached the same level of culture popularity and penetration as its peers, which may be why it hasn't been adapted already. I mean, they tried to do a new series in I think 2011, and then like in 2017, 2018, they did like Thundercats Ho or whatever it was, which was kind of like their equivalent of the Teen Titans Go series, which was like the cutesy giant head, little body, uh, animation style, and like I've never been a fan of that style of animation. I did, however, get into uh, watching Teen Titans Go later on after a number of years of grumbling about how it took over and replaced Young Justice, which was a great show. Um, I didn't like the chibi look, the like giant head, little body, like Pokemon characters. I've never been never been a fan of that. And they took a really great action cartoon and turned it into kind of a goofy little kid show. And that's how I saw it initially. And that's kind of what they did with the Thundercats Ho series. It was a comedy, like poking like tongue in cheek, poking fun at itself kind of thing. And I think I saw one clip of it. It's like, nope, I'm not watching that. I'm not gonna do that. And I think that's pretty much what everybody else thought too, because that show didn't go beyond its first season, I don't think. And yeah, no, I think it's let's see here. Uh, uh, yeah, and the people that did Thundercats, Rankin Bass, are the same people that did like the stop motions, um, of course, brain fart, the stop motion Santa Claus and like Frosty the Snowman and Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer stuff that comes on TV every year. And they also did what else did they do? They did Silverhawks, and which was essentially the same kind of thing. The difference was instead of it being like anthropomorphic cats from another planet, they were Silverhawks was like a they were like cyborgs. They altered their bodies so they can travel through space to go to a different solar system to be intergalactic police. Yeah, Silverhawks was cool. I actually really liked that series. Um, yeah, 2011 is when they. uh, there have been previous attempts to bring back Thundercats. 2011 is the one I talked about, and then it says, despite positive reviews, Warner Bros. Then attempted to apply the Teen Titans Go formula to the pop property with Thundercats Roar. That's what it was called. Thundercats Roar. I had it wrong. I knew it was something similar. To a mostly negative reception from fans. The show ended after one season. Yep. That's exactly what I said. Uh, I don't know. Maybe I'll give it a shot and see if I can find it online and watch it. But I'm pretty sure I'm not gonna like it because that whole like you know I think the only reason why I was okay with Teen Titans Go is the episode that I ran across and okay, I'll stop and watch because they are making fun of heavy metal, and like there was like Beast Boy was dressed up like Lemmy from Motorhead, and other members of the group were dressed up as other famous, heavy metal musicians. I think, um, I want to say that Raven was dressed up like Rob Halford. I could be wrong. Either way, though, that's what stopped me from changing the station. I watched it because I wanted to see what they were doing with that, and it was very, very, very funny. I quickly kind of like forgot that the art style of the show was annoying to me. I didn't like the chibi giant head little body thing. I just don't find that entertaining, or like I definitely don't want to see that. So, anyways, so yeah, that is today's episode. Um, I think that was entertaining, right? Right? Cool. Um, like I said, I'll post all the links in the show notes of today's episode, and you can check out all the stories I talked about for yourself if you want to read through the whole thing or watch the videos for yourself. I'll also post the video I made using audio recording from last night's open mic. So, you guys, if you want to listen to me tell jokes, you can check out that video over on uh, Instagram and Facebook, and I'll probably also post it on over on TikTok. Um, Definitely TikTok and definitely Facebook. I think I'm gonna have to cut it down to a smaller size for Instagram to play it. So, and Instagram doesn't like long videos, and that video I think is about 7 minutes long. Um, and I think all the jokes in that are pretty good. I think I got some decent reactions from my jokes. So if you want to see the whole thing, go ahead and check out uh, Resting Tism Face over on TikTok and Facebook. And you know what? I'll even post it on the Substack. So if you have the Substack app, you should be able to watch it there, which will also probably post it over on YouTube as well. So thanks again for listening to me babble for the last 52, 53 minutes. And I will see you guys next time.